Today is Friday the 15th. Sorry, the 14th. Where's my phone? Yes, the 14th. Sorry, one day off. And it looks like we're getting a little support in the markets. Looks like this 50% level is actually holding. Overnight right now, we take a look at the ES, the Standard & Poor's futures, E-mini futures contract. You can see we're getting this nice little bounce overnight. Now, overnight here, we still have not cleared yesterday's open. It looks like. Let me come in here and take a look. This should be overnight, 30 minutes. Yep, here we go. So here we have yesterday's opening price right here. Still have not cleared yesterday's opening price, but we got a nice little bounce. And given the fact that we're looking at a temporary bottom pattern as of this morning, I would assume, and again, this is my assumption, that the lows yesterday, setting up that kind of reversal, could end up being our temporary bottom pattern, or secondarily, we may end up with some sort of a pullback this morning, setting up a temporary bottom pattern out throughout the market trend today. Now, this is a very healthy base setting up. Apparently, Chuck Schumer has given in and is going to be voting for the continued resolution. So the U.S. government shutdown related to government spending and funding is averted. Could prompt a pretty strong rally phase here in the recovery. That moves us back into a real, let me go back here to daily, a real potential that we could be looking at some fairly solid rallying, as I told you, up into that 573 area. Remember, all last week, I kept telling everyone that, the reason I'm expecting this move is because we've got a very clear excess phase peak breakdown. We have that breaking of the flag level right here. We're moving into consolidation. We should be setting up a base, which then turns into a fairly wide rally, kind of like what happened over here with Bitcoin. So, I'll give you an example. This is the same kind of base. Now, we had the flag, we broke down, we established a low, we moved into consolidation. We should get a nice rally here in Bitcoin, just like I predicted, up to about 89,400 or so, maybe a little lower. And we're going to trade through consolidation for a while until we get into the breakdown of the ultimate low. We're in that same setup on the SPY. Okay, we are literally in that same setup. If this is our low, then we will be looking for consolidation out in this area, just like I've drawn the green line, kind of moving through consolidation, maybe a little quicker. Maybe this red line is a quicker roll of consolidation, possibly retesting lows as we try to break out into that lower ultimate low channel. Does not look like this is going to happen, so I'll get rid of it. And then please do remember that we have that roll down into that topping pattern, or bottoming pattern, which is going to happen based on my cycle research somewhere around this level. So we do have a deep bottoming pattern down here, which could be a very big breakdown, setting up in, pretty much today is Friday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, about a week, a little over a week. So call it about 7-8 trading days. I think we could be topping probably up here in this 574 to 585 area. And then we could roll very aggressively down here to these lows. Okay, maybe a little lower, maybe a retest of current lows. But again, this area, this window is kind of our our breakdown area. So I need you to be aware that as we're moving into this phase, this potential bounce phase up into this 580 whatever area, 575, 580 area, potentially rallying sharply to the upside, we could get a very quick rollover back down here to these lows. Could be news, could be event driven, who knows? But be aware that we're looking at another base bottom near the end of March. Okay, so we're looking at, again, a temporary bottom pattern. Should prompt a little bit of recovery. You know, if I had my guess, if you came to me and said, Brad, where do you think it's going to go today? I'm going to tell you that probably this 562, 564 area, maybe 563, but 552 to 560 or 562 to 564. To me, it seems pretty logical that that's where we're going to go. Okay? I don't think we're going to see much downside, given the news that the continuation of government is going to perpetuate. So, I mean, we could see a bit of a pullback, maybe down to 555, but maybe a little lower, 553, but that would be just probably a setting up of a bottom, a support level. Okay, QQQ, same thing, temporary bottom. NASDAQ is moving quite a bit higher, actually, 475. So we're already close to yesterday's opening price. You can see here, intraday, we come in here to 30-minute. You can see overnight in this blue area, we've rallied quite strong. Here's the opening price level right here. We're pretty darn close to the opening price level for the day, running right across that level. We've pretty much set up, in my opinion, that kind of a temporary bottom pattern right here. We may get a little bit of a temporary bottom pattern setting up here before we go higher, but it looks to me like we've rolled out of it and sent the temporary bottom actually yesterday. So we'll see how this plays out. If we don't get a big rolling downward, we may see a pretty solid rally up to the upside. Okay, let's come back here to daily. Okay, and again, we are in that same remove drawings. We're in that same kind of a flagging formation. So need you to understand that we've reached this top, pulled back here, flagged out, excess phase peak pattern, rolling down, broken below the lows here. We're really moving into that consolidation phase, which will put us into consolidation over here as we weaken and ultimately come down for a potential ultimate low, which may be further out. I'm just drawing this for you so you can see it. That's pretty much the primary driver of what's going to happen right now. So we're looking for a move. I would suspect the move's going to be back up here to 20,400, 20,600, maybe a little higher, and then we're going to move into consolidation. Remember, it's going to be a pretty quick move because the end of March, end of April, or beginning of April, real basing, bottoming is like right in this area. So remember, we're looking at this low potentially as being a retest of these areas or potentially a little deeper low. We'll see how it plays out. Okay, let's go take a look at gold and silver. Gold and silver are a little bit higher today. Gold's at 3,007, had been up to about 3,015, 16. The fear factor is going to subside, but I don't think it's going to change the direction of gold all that much. The gold cycle pattern for today is a top resistance, which again is opposite of the SPY cycle pattern. A top resistance pattern should move us into kind of a topping pattern And where we're at with that topping pattern is it should be more along the lines of a peak rolling into sideways trending and a peak moving into sideways trending. So be aware that we could get a pretty solid little rally, maybe up into the 30-20, 30-25 area, and for gold, and maybe over here up into the maybe 35 area, 34.90, 35, 35.05, maybe a little above 35. But again, I think we're going to roll over near the end of the day. And I think that could be a fairly strong move back for the dollar and for the U.S. stock market. So understand that if the S&P and the NASDAQ tend to roll higher at the end of the day and the dollar builds a little strength, we could see metals kind of roll over into kind of a sideways trend. I don't believe we're going to wipe out all of this gain here. It seems illogical to say that we're going to rally this far out of this and then blow in one day all the way downward. Although, it depends on what the dollar does and what the markets do right now. I know that there's a lot of pent up appreciation of people wanting to buy the dip, buy the dip. So we'll see how it plays out. Like I said, I think we're going to be consolidating in the SPY here. This is the NASDAQ, so QQQ. Remember, we're going to be consolidating into this mode, just like I drew here. We're going to be rolling through this consolidation phase, so gold should continue to move upward as we get trapped into this phase. Okay, lastly, we're going to come over here to Bitcoin. Trying to keep these videos under 20, 30 minutes. Understand that there's some kind of a problem uploading to YouTube. And anyway, I don't know exactly what it is. So I'm trying to keep these videos short, and I'm trying to leave the page open as I complete the video for you guys in the morning. See if that helps. We're moving into this sideways channel in Bitcoin, just like I predicted. We'll probably see a rally back up here to 89,200 plus. Let's call it 89,000 plus. So, really kind of keeping an eye out for this kind of level here. I would say that would be our upper target level right now in this rally phase. Secondarily, you can keep an eye out for this area. This is your early take profit area. That's 87,100 roughly. It's playing out quite nicely through this rotation, and now we should get a pretty good move up, which means the market should move up quite a bit. So understand that we're going to be doing, should see the SPY and the QQQ moving higher over the next 3, 4, 5 days, which could be a very solid run for everyone up into these topping levels. But you understand that everything is in this consolidation phase. You see here, we've consolidated. We're in our second little rally here. Come back over here, the SPY. We've moved down into consolidation. We're looking at our first little rally up into this 575 to 585 area. We come over to the QQQ. We're in consolidation. We're starting to rally back up. We're going to be looking at, 490, call it 492, 493, possibly somewhere in this area, all the way up to maybe 500, 503, somewhere up in this area. Those are going to be what I call the easy pull profit. This is the easier pull profit, call it good. This is the more extended move. This would be an extreme peak. I don't ever try to trade off of peaks and bottoms personally. I try to grab that 2/3 or 50% in the middle. That's, to me, easier and more consistent than trying to pick tops and bottoms. And like I told you yesterday, if you were trying to pick a bottom all the way down here, or yesterday, or over any of these big days down, you realize how difficult it is. Trying to pick a bottom while it's moving down, almost impossible. What you can do is learn to be a little bit more patient, wait for some confirmation, and then catch the 3, 4, 5 day up move. This is beautiful downward trending. And again, if you just had picked your shorts more effectively, that was the dominant trend. Now we're moving into a bounce mode, so the more dominant trend is going to be to the upside. Okay, guys, that's it. I'm really going to be watching this gold and silver. Very excited to see this move. Like I said, once we get above this 3,000 level with some consistency, I'm going to tell you guys that, really, I think gold and silver can rally, can really rally. I mean, I think gold could literally move to, 32, 3,300 very quickly. Okay, so we're going to see how this plays out. But right now we're getting a little bounce. Nasdaq's up 1%. S&P is down a little bit, is up 0.75%. Dollar was up a little bit yesterday. UK, everything is up overnight, which means we may be kind of reaching kind of an exhaustion point, but we'll see how much money piles into the markets today and whether or not gold continues to rally or not. If gold gets up in the 30, 40, 30, 50 area on a big rally, that's going to tell you that right now the global fear is really setting in and gold could make a big expansion move over the next 15, 20 trading days. So we'll see how that plays out. Okay, guys, back over here to the SPY and go get some today. We'll see how this base holds up. Remember, you got to kind of be prepared to that 555 level. So we're just above it right now, but that 555 level could be a bit of a breakdown level for the SPY. So if we get below that level with stronger downward trending, really, we could end up trying to retest a new low or a recent low and then roll back out of it. So just kind of pay attention to what happens in the first 30, 40 minutes of trading and be aware that we could get a lot of volatility. It's the end of the week. We don't know what the markets are going to do, and we don't, I think, have a vote yet on the spending. We will see. All right, guys, go get some.